Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I'm Sunny Pancholi, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such industry heavyweight on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Ms. Joyita Kumar Ashish. She is a highly experienced fashion retail professional, bringing over 3 decades of extensive expertise spanning all facets of retail management. Her comprehensive experience includes roles in sourcing, buying, retail merchandising, category management, private label and licensed merchandise development, strategic planning, annual budgeting, pricing, supply chain management, and more. With a background in operations, HR, marketing, promotions, and brand building, she excels at managing end-to-end categories and businesses with complete P&L accountability. Having effectively handled P&L responsibilities for the past 15 years across various retail firms, she is a proven leader with strong communication and presentation skills. Her leadership and people management skills have been honed through managing large teams. In her current role as head of business, apparel, footwear, and accessories at RPSG Group, that is Spencer's Retail, since March 2021, she oversees the P&L of the fashion vertical, managing omni-channel operations and leading a large team. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, Ms. Joyita.
Hi. Pleasure being here.
So, our viewers would like to know in brief about your career journey in the fashion retail industry with highlights on some key milestones or experiences that have shaped your career.
So honestly speaking, my career, let's say, with fashion retail in the country is almost it's been parallel with fashion retail per se starting in this country. So honestly, when I stepped out of NIFT, which is now long back, somewhere in the mid 90s, there wasn't really any fashion retail in the country. We were all still maybe getting our clothes tailored from our mom and pop tailors. Essentially the only fashion business, so to say, in the country were the exporters. So initial few years I actually worked in factories with a lot of international buyers, both from Europe and US. It's around, I think around 2000 is when I joined Shoppers Stop, the first retailer, so to stay, in the country. I think when I joined them, there were some 5 6 stores, and we in fact had people like the VPs, etc., who were actually all expats, because there was no knowledge of fashion retail or retail, let's say organized retail in the country that point in time. So we had expats who would kind of actually teach us what retail is all about. So from there till now, I think Indian fashion today, Indian retail today has evolved. We are world class. I think every most, I would say 98% of brands which are globally available today are available in the country. A lot of Indian brands are selling today overseas. So it's been a journey that I've kind of experienced firsthand. So I was at Shoppers, then beyond Shoppers for some, I think close to 8 9 years. I was with Big Bazaar. Big Bazaar was in my view, I think the most challenging role that I've ever done, because we were opening stores in new cities every, I mean, 3 4 stores every month. We were going to various parts of the country, trying to understand what people want, and then giving it to them at prices that would appeal to them. Modern retail itself was unknown to them. So, and of course, like they say, India is not homogeneous. India is actually, every city, every few kilometers, the tastes change. Your professions also kind of dictate what you wear. So businessmen in India, in let's say Uttar Pradesh, dress up very differently than let's say a professional in Mumbai. So it's not one size fits all. So the learning that has been there along the way has been amazing. I mean, I could look at a person today and kind of say which city is, they might be belonging to. So I mean, that's the kind of perspective I've developed on, let's say, consumers. Post Big Bazaar, I was with Walmart when Walmart came to India with their Indian retail business. That gave me a global exposure on, again, the biggest retailer in the world. They've been doing it for years. So the way their processes, their systems, the way they handle their buying, the way they do their markdown management, the way they handle their inventory, there's so much to learn. uh, what else? So after Walmart, I've also worked with Reliance Retail in India. Currently, I'm with Spencer's Retail. Again, these are all large format retail, where and stores across the country. So the knowledge has only kind of increased over the years. I've also in the interim worked with Good Earth for a while, where we were working with Indian handcrafted merchandise, which again is a very different journey, but that's the true essence of our country, where there are craftspeople in every nook and corner, and there is so much of handcraft that gets created in this country, which today there is a large market for that, both within the country and overseas. uh, so yeah, that's how it's been so far.
Ms. Joyita, thank you for the excellent start to this interview. And I must say, your career journey is truly inspiring.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, continuing our conversation, could you highlight a project or initiative that you are particularly proud of, and what were the key factors that have contributed to its success?
I think I would still talk about the stint at Big Bazaar, because this was at a point in time where retail had just come into the country, and all my, let's say, the stint that has been, let's say, beyond Big Bazaar, is by that time Indian market matured. So the, let's say, the factories understood what is retail, the customers understood what is retail. But in the 2000s, when I was actually with Big Bazaar, is when retail was actually coming into the country. So we basically, we were the torch bearers. So you would go into a new city, you would open up a store, you would actually kind of make the clientele understand what is large format retail, what is to be expected, how to shop. So on both sides, on one side were the suppliers, because suppliers were also not even, they're not clear as to what is it that a domestic retailer is looking for. I mean, how to create an assortment, how to create brands, because in 2000s there were hardly any brands in the country. So one was on the supply side. We also then started creating our own private label. So what the each private label, the nuance of the product, the handwriting of the product, all of that had to be created. And this is while we are also opening stores every 2 months. So we are working on product, and we are also simultaneously trying to open stores, go to more and more cities, and understand more and more customers. So that itself was a huge learning experience, and everything that I have learned at that phase in time has helped me in all my subsequent assignments, because by then the customer matured, the processes matured, and and of course, that way gave me as a person, or a first mover advantage, because we were part of the initial team, so to say. Yeah.
That sounds incredible. So, building on to that, how do you foster a collaborative and innovative work culture within your teams, especially considering the dynamic nature of retail industry?
So that's a tough one. I mean, it's never easy, and if a lot of people are working together, I'm sure there is going to be some sort of disagreement constantly. But I think the right approach to that is, one is not to ever make anything personal. So let's say if I'm disagreeing with somebody, we're disagreeing on what to do, what needs to be done, maybe the timelines of what needs to be done, on the ways of, let's say, doing something, but it is never personal. So moment you keep the person and the work separate, I think that makes it a little easier. And also, I guess, somewhere, you need to keep the customer centric to all conversations. Moment you kind of are able to convince the other person that what I am proposing, though you might not like it, is something that is going to benefit the business, is going to make us closer to the customer. It works. So I mean, I guess that's the only way. And of course, it's honesty. The other person should also always believe that I don't have an ulterior motive. If I don't have an ulterior motive, he or she doesn't have an ulterior motive, then it's a minor disagreement which, one can kind of overcome. That this has been my way of working.
Rightly said, Ms. Joyita. All right, so now that we have discussed your career journey, your professional pursuits, roles and responsibilities, and your learnings, let's move on to the subject of corporate governance. So here is my question to you, and a very obvious one. How and when did you develop an interest in corporate governance?
So one is of course the personal journey for me. So it's now close to 30 years, like you said, that I've been at various levels, of course, growing through the rank, also understanding what is it that I'm kind of bringing on onto the table. I think the next step in that sense is of course where, it's, I think I've reached a stage in time where I need to also start giving back to the business. So and that's on the personal side. And I think otherwise also last few years, I mean, we all are aware that we've been seeing a lot of great companies with a great product and a great business model. So on paper, a business which looks perfect, struggling, all primarily because of governance concerns. So which means that even if you have a great idea, a great business model, might even have the brightest people kind of leading that business, but see, governance is more like it's something that has to be done every day. It's the rigor has to be there so that nothing misses. And so governance is, it's the backbone of any business to kind of create the business to ensure that it's sustainable. So I think, and the last few years there have been instances where one has seen that this is an area where all organizations will have to start building muscle, building strength. So I felt this is an area where, I mean, one should start exploring.
All right. So, as a corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
I wouldn't call myself an expert. I mean, retail, I would say I'm an expert. Corporate governance is, of course, something that I'm trying to learn, understand. But what I bring to the table and what I've even understood in my endeavor to kind of learn more about is that you one need domain experts. So there are expertise that I bring. I understand Indian consumers pretty well. I understand the Indian market pretty well. So that's the background I would say that I bring to the table. I think beyond that, it is the fact that the ethics. I think one major thing that one needs to bring onto the table is ethics, honesty, and the desire to value add. So even if you don't understand the nuances of something, one could always learn. As long as finally, when you're coming onto the table, you're bringing on a desire to do things ethically, not to have any ulterior motives, and to kind of value add to the business. I think that is what I believe I will bring on.
Okay. All right. So, moving ahead, let's discuss technology and its impact on your professional landscape. So, here is my question to you. As you know, technological advents like IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, digital twin, cloud, Web 3.0 are taking every industry with a sweep. So, what are some ways you foresee them disrupting the fashion industry or the retail industry?
So, to be honest, we've already seen fair amount of disruption. Online happened. We were a purely offline business, so to say. Then we became online as well. The pandemic made us even more online. There is quick commerce today. There is omni channel has become the answer, wherein you're kind of telling the customer, if you have the time and the desire, please come to the store, but we are also available online. You could buy online but pick it up offline. So there is all kinds of combinations that one is offering to the customers. That's one part of it. Then there is of course The larger part is where you're also maybe doing your focused marketing, because you don't really need to today advertise to the world at a go. You could kind of pick and choose customers who are, your target audience. You could do performance marketing. So there is, see, change is the only constant. Things will keep changing, things will keep evolving, and these are tech finally, hopefully, needs to be utilized in a manner that it makes our business more efficient, makes our decision making better, let's say shortens the time needed to do an activity. So these are all various ways of tech coming into business. We will all have to stay open about it, understand, learn, incorporate, and make the best use of it. I mean, one can't have a closed mind.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing such amazing insights into different subjects, Ms. Joyita. So this brings us to the last question of the session. We are building a community of industry magnets. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and
I
the
think
team
it's
of World
brilliant.
Development Corporation?
I think it's brilliant. I mean, see, each of us is so caught up in our day-to-day work, in what we do in, let's say, our chosen field, and in our, let's say, in the organization that we are working in. We all end up being in silos. We really don't get the time to even if the desire is there, to kind of network, or maybe give back to the country, give back to the industry. You really don't know how to do it. Even the fact that, let's say, I would have been interested in being a director for a while, but I really didn't know how to do it. Neither did I have the bandwidth or the time to even figure out. Just that now that this whole platform has been created, it's actually been made so easy for us to learn, to network, and to therefore also give back. I think it's brilliant. It's a great initiative.
Thank you. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you, Ms. Joyita Kumar Ashish, for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future
Thank you,
endeavors.
Maki. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day.